This is CBN NewsWatch.
Thanks for joining us for CBN NewsWatch for Monday, October 21st. I'm Mark Martin. Today, a possible shakeup in the Democratic presidential race as Elizabeth Warren gains steam, promising expensive plans for new government programs. And you'll hear her answer when CBN News asked her if churches who oppose same-sex marriage should lose their tax exemption. The ceasefire in Syria is set to end tomorrow as the fighting could start again. We'll show you how Christians in the area could be caught in the crossfire. Another controversy over drag queen story hours in public libraries as a video of one drag queen doing way more than reading has surfaced online. And thousands of Christians from 100 countries traveled to Israel as the country celebrates the biblical Feast of Tabernacles. We'll hear why some call it a fulfillment of prophecy. Those stories and more today on NewsWatch. We begin with the Democratic race for president as a new poll shows frontrunner Joe Biden potentially in trouble in the first-in-the-nation caucuses in Iowa in early February. He has 18% with Elizabeth Warren at 17% and South Bend, Indiana Mayor Pete Buttigieg in third at 13%. Warren has promised expensive new programs, including her support for Medicare for all, but she's faced questions about how she would pay for it. CBN News Capitol Hill correspondent Abigail Robertson went to a Warren town hall where she talked about her plans, and she asked her about possibly revoking the tax-exempt status of churches who don't support same-sex marriage.
Senator Elizabeth Warren is gaining national momentum with her aggressive grassroots campaign and progressive platform calling for Medicare for all, bold initiatives to address climate change, and breaking up big banks and big tech.
And let me tell you where big structural change starts. It starts by attacking corruption head on. You ready?
Speaking to a crowd of about 4,000, Warren laid out plans for canceling student debt and getting rid of college tuition.
And we can provide tuition-free technical school, 2-year college, and 4-year college for anyone who wants to get an education.
In promising all this and more, she plans a wealth tax on anyone with more than $50 million in assets who would pay an additional amount for each dollar over $50 million.
2 cents, and we can make an investment in an entire generation.
But other candidates challenge her plans and the math, particularly covering Medicare for all.
At least Bernie's being honest here and saying how he's going to pay for this and that taxes are going to go up. And I'm sorry, Elizabeth, but you have not said that. And I think we owe it to the American people to tell them where we're going to send the invoice.
Many at the town hall tell CBN News they're on board with universal health care.
I think that the arguments against giving people a fair shot at health care are ridiculous.
I do think that health care should be something that we consider as a right and not a privilege.
And believe she'll find a way to pay for it.
I think that, she has a plan, and there are much smarter people than me thinking about it, so.
Even if it means higher taxes for the middle class.
We're already paying it.
Other Virginia Democrats still don't know whom they'll support.
I think we need to have somebody who is willing to not only appeal to those who are more liberal, but also to those middle of the road. So I don't know who that person is.
Candidate Beto O'Rourke recently made headlines for this answer on whether or not churches and religious institutions should lose their tax-exempt status if they oppose same-sex marriage.
Yes. There can be no reward, no benefit, no tax break for anyone or any institution, any organization in America that denies the full human rights and the full civil rights of every single one of us.
Warren told CBN News she disagrees.
We have a long tradition in our country of permitting churches to make their own decisions about how they worship. I respect that tradition, and I would not change it.
With the first caucuses still a few months away, the question remains if Senator Warren can maintain her steady rise in the polls through when it matters most. Reporting from Norfolk, Virginia, Abigail Robertson, CBN News.
After that event in Norfolk, Warren said in another town hall on Sunday that she will soon release a plan to pay for her national health insurance plan, but without raising taxes on the middle class. And in Washington, acting White House Chief of Staff is defending his remarks last week when he appeared to say that the administration held up aid to Ukraine in part to push that country to investigate Democrats in the 2016 elections. But Mick Mulvaney argues that wasn't what he meant.
I never said there was a quid pro quo, because there isn't.
The president has also canceled his proposal to uphold the upcoming international G7 summit at his Miami resort. The president said he would host the summit at cost, but the idea sparked a quick backlash from both parties. In Dallas, search and rescue teams are continuing their efforts today after at least one tornado passed through the region late Sunday night. This harrowing video shows the frightening scene as it unfolds. The storm touching down near Dallas Love Field Airport, causing widespread damage and leaving tens of thousands in the dark. This Home Depot store decimated. Residents have a long road to recovery.
Windows busted all over the house. The gas meter in the backyard is hissing. Our backyard fence, tree, patio cover, everything was just down, gone.
Need to pray for them. Officials say so far there are no reports of death or serious injuries. Coming up, the ceasefire in Syria ends tomorrow and the fighting could start up again. We're going to bring you a look at how the warfare could be putting Turkish Christians in the crossfire.
On the home front.
Thanks for joining us for CBN's On the Home Front, where we highlight what the men and women of America's military do to defend our country. CBN honors the men and women in our military with an initiative called Helping the Home Front. It partners with churches across the country to meet the needs of their military families, from repairing homes to wiping out medical bills for wounded veterans.
On the home front, Tuesday morning at 10:30.
If you want to be an attorney with a passion for serving people and for excellence, Regent University needs to be high on your list.
Regent's award-winning law school doesn't just create lawyers. We create leaders, judges, prosecutors and defense lawyers, civil litigators, and leaders in government.
My focus has been trying to really make sure we have the future leaders we need for the bench and the bar and for society generally.
You'll learn from highly credentialed leaders who are current and former judges, distinguished scholars, and ACLJ counsel.
I'm so glad I chose Regent. The relationships here have been amazing. The faculty have been amazing. Not everybody's called to the same thing when they leave law school, but they're called by a God who has a purpose for their lives, and He is going to use that education to make a difference in the world.
Regent will prepare you to be a purpose-driven, practice-ready lawyer. To start your rewarding law career, complete the online application, submit your transcripts, and take the law school admissions test by July. Apply today.
The U.S. and Turkish ceasefire in Syria ends tomorrow, but if the Syrian Democratic Forces haven't left their designated areas by then, Turkish President Erdogan has promised to crush Kurdish heads. As the nearly 2-week-old Turkish invasion continues, Chris Mitchell reports evidence is mounting on social media and regional reports that Christians are a target.
Along the Turkish-Syrian border, reports are emerging of Christians living, dying, and fleeing in the face of a Turkish onslaught aided by jihadist troops. They hope their pleas reach the Christians of America. In January of this year in Kobani, CBN News interviewed Pastor Zani and his wife Chinar after President Trump said he would pull U.S. troops. At the time, they pleaded with the president.
Why did President Trump do this? That he immediately wants to withdraw the forces from here? Is it possible that he was not considering the church, or that he doesn't know that there are believers here?
10 months later, CBN News received this message from Chinar via an encrypted app. "We're afraid of one thing. If Kobani enters the siege and the gas, fuel, food, and medical supplies and heating means will be cut off, it will become a real disaster. We do not know what will happen next. Miles from Kobani in Sari Khani, Rouhani TV interviewed Ziad Musa, the only Christian left in town. He said, "The Turkish state is destroying the Christian churches and heritage and trying to annihilate the Christians from this region." This Rudao 24 report documented the fears of the Christians in Kamishli. You people of America, Christianity is in danger. If Christianity dies in the East, then Christianity will die as a whole, because we, the Syriacs, speak the language of Jesus. The Syriac language is the Aramaic language. If we are gone, there won't be Christians left.
Our religious freedoms are at our core as an American people. I'm ashamed as an American to see this taking place. It should not have happened. If it is happening in real time, then the United States has to play a role in stopping it.
Rabbi Abraham Cooper of the Simon Wiesenthal Center learned more about the plight of Christians after the Turkish invasion.
CBN was kind enough to supply me with a very lengthy email literally from the front lines. So disturbing, and I was so disturbed by it that I actually sent it along to the Secretary of State and to the Vice President. Two people in the administration, top people, who are very much committed to the issue of protecting religious minorities.
Cooper, like many other leaders, hope President Trump will reverse course.
It is a disaster. The president has been known to change course pretty quickly. I think I would join those who hope and pray that he flexes more muscle, both in terms of the sanctions, which have an impact on Erdogan, and if necessary, using American air power, which is still massive, to enforce a red line.
Before the Turkish invasion, it was estimated up to 100,000 Christians lived in northeast Syria. How many remain in the cradle of Christianity after Erdogan's invasion remains to be seen. But many are looking to the President of the United States and the Church in America for help.
And Chris Mitchell joins us now with more live from Jerusalem. Chris, tell us about the Christians you met in northeast Syria earlier this year.
Well, it was a real privilege and honor to be with many of these Christians. You may have seen in that last shot, I was sitting down there breaking bread after a Sunday service at the Church of the Brethren in Kobani. That's where we met Pastor Zani and his wife Chinar. It's heart-wrenching, actually, to see the plight they're in right now. I was just trying to get hold of Chinar earlier on that encrypted app. We didn't make connection. Hopefully we will a little bit today. And really their plea, Mark, is really for Christians in the United States to, first of all, understand the plight they're going through right now, how dangerous it is for them, particularly because of the Christians, and also to do what they can to speak up on their behalf, certainly pray for them as well. You have to understand that the jihadist forces that are allied with the Turkish army, they call themselves, some of them, the army of Muhammad. They're after the infidels, so they're after the unbelievers, as they say. So that makes Christians a target for this army. So that's why they're in such a dangerous situation right now and why they need prayer so much.
Chris, Presidents Erdogan and Putin meet tomorrow. Why is that meeting so important?
Well, you know, Mark, you could argue that the meeting last week with Vice President Pence and Secretary of State Pompeo, as significant as that was, and broker a ceasefire for 5 days, that the more important and significant meeting will be tomorrow when President Erdogan and Putin meet. And the reason for that is that now Putin is basically the new sheriff in town. He's the one really with the power and calling the shots. And that is going to be fascinating to see how they bridge their own differences, because Turkey and Russia, while they may have areas of agreement, they have also areas of great disagreement on how they want the geopolitics and how they want this to unfold. So that's going to be a very important meeting and will help determine the fate of what's going to happen in northeast Syria, perhaps for the foreseeable future.
Senator Mitch McConnell wrote in an op-ed that he would like to see U.S. troops reintroduced to Syria. Is that realistic, Chris?
Well, it's going to come with a price, and there is certainly a possibility that they could reintroduce U.S. presence up near the Syrian border. There is talk of the possibility of a no-fly zone. In fact, when we talked to Rabbi Cooper yesterday, that's what he said would be one first step, and that's what others are saying, where the U.S. could impose a no-fly zone on that. Whether or not they can remains to be seen. There's a price to be paid for the U.S. pulling out of that area if they want to reintroduce themselves. There is a report that just came out that the U.S. will maintain some presence along the eastern Syrian border along Syria and Iraq to help protect those oil fields. But whether or not they can reintroduce themselves, whether or not President Trump has the will to do that, remains to be seen.
You interviewed Rabbi Abraham Cooper. Did he express any fears about the danger to Israel?
Very much. In fact, he was one of the, he and also Rabbi Heyer from the Simon Wiesenthal Center met with Secretary of State Pompeo just after Pompeo met with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on Friday. The purpose of Pompeo's visit to Netanyahu was to help reassure Israel that they have Israel's back, because the danger, as Rabbi Cooper expressed it, is that if Iran comes in to northeast Syria, it takes them one step closer to the northern border of Israel and one step closer to their goal of trying to eliminate the state of Israel. So this is a very dangerous situation, as Rabbi Cooper said, for the state of Israel.
Yeah, people, like you mentioned earlier, definitely need to keep this situation in prayers. Our Middle East Bureau Chief Chris Mitchell reporting from Jerusalem. Thank you, Chris. Still ahead, the latest controversy over drag queen story hours in public libraries, as a video of one drag queen doing way more than reading trends, and it's surfaced online.
If you want to be an attorney with a passion for serving people and for excellence, Regent University needs to be high on your list.
Regent's award-winning law school doesn't just create lawyers. We create leaders, judges, prosecutors and defense lawyers, civil litigators, and leaders in government. Ready to become a purpose-driven, practice-ready lawyer? To start your rewarding career, complete the online application, submit your transcripts, and take the law school admissions test by July.
Nutrition, exercise, essential oils, weight loss, and more. It's Healthy Living with Lori Johnson.
Talk about what's in this.
Join CBN health reporter Lori Johnson to get the latest information from today's top health experts.
This is fantastic.
Find out what you need to know to live a healthier life. Watch Healthy Living, Tuesday night at 9:30.
Woohoo! Hi, Superbook fans. Here's something else you'll love. It's the new Superbook Bible app. It's packed with games, activities, and Superbook episodes that you can watch for free. Oh no! There's trivia, a fun daily devotional, and answers to your Bible questions. Plus, an easy-to-understand Bible the whole family will enjoy. You can even create your own Superbook character. Ta-da! Whoa!
The Millsburg Falls man.
Sorry, pardon me. Sorry, excuse me. Ouch!
Are you getting this?
Earn super points to win daily prizes, too. And so much more! Time to get back to my adventures. See you soon. It's the new Superbook Bible app. Free downloads on iTunes, Google Play, and Amazon.
Drag queen story hours are becoming almost commonplace across the country at public libraries. Video from one that took place over the summer has surfaced and gotten attention online. Here's Gary Lane's report from his Global Lane program, along with his commentary in his Drive It Home segment.
We've told you about Drag Queen Story Hour, the effort by the LGBTQ community to teach tolerance by reading in drag to children at public libraries. Well, we learned that at least one Story Hour presenter was a convicted sex offender. That was in Houston. Then earlier this year, we showed you how Drag Queen Story Hour evolved into Roll Around, and lay on the drag queen in Seattle. Now this, drag queen strip hour at a King County library in the state of Washington, all to a song that says, "If you feel like a girl, do your thing." Folks, how is this educational? And when Christian taxpayers say no more, my tax dollars will not be used to support this indoctrination of our children or grandchildren, we're called homophobes and bigots. We get proposals from Democratic presidential candidates to pull the tax-exempt status of churches or Christian groups and businesses who stand against this absurdity. It's all about winning votes, folks, because although they represent a small percentage of the American population, members of the LGBTQ community vote, and they do have influence. Yes, in America, we believe in protecting minority rights. The LGBTQ community must be protected from discrimination, but we don't allow the minority to have dominant influence on our society. In a democratic republic, we believe in majority rule. Jesus told us to love one another. Yes, we must love one another as He loves us. But that doesn't mean we love ungodly behavior, nor must we accept it. Remember what Christ said in the book of John, chapter 8, to the woman about to be stoned for committing adultery? He said He did not condemn her, but He told her to go and sin no more. Folks, we have a responsibility to protect our children from stripping drag queens. Jesus also warned us in Matthew 18:6, "If anyone causes one of these little ones, those who believe in me, to stumble, it would be better for them to have a large millstone hung around their neck and to be drowned in the depths of the sea." So, let's tell our taxpayer-funded public libraries that we will throw them a lifeline to save them from drowning. But like the adulteress in John 8, they must go and sin no more.
Coming up, Israel has been celebrating a biblical feast in recent days, the Feast of Tabernacles. Today marks the final day of that event. We'll hear why some call it a fulfillment of prophecy, and we'll bring you a look at this year's celebration when we come back.
Introducing the CBN Bible from CBN.com. Now, an easier way to study the Bible and grow in your faith. Highlight your favorite verse. Read separate versions at a glance. Click and read a commentary. Or cross-reference your favorite verse using the Strong's Concordance. All the right tools to study the Bible, all in one place. The CBN Bible, available at cbn.com/Bible or the iTunes App Store.
This is CBN NewsWatch.
Thanks for joining us.
Watch breaking news, exclusive stories and programs, credible news reporting.
We show you what's happening in the world and how you can pray about it.
This is CBN NewsWatch, because truth matters. Weekdays at 5 on the CBN News Channel.
Yes, right on time.
From Superbook.
Pepper's Pizza Palace is donating pizza for everyone today.
Wait. I have big plans today.
Trust in God even when times are tough. He has a plan for your life.
Hey, we're gonna be late for the grand opening.
My parents want me to help with this outreach thing, feeding the community. What am I supposed to do here? Superbook!
Join the Superbook Club and get Superbook The Birth of Moses, plus 2 copies to share with others, all for your gift of only $25.
Pharaoh ordered all newborn Hebrew boys thrown into the Nile River, and I have a 3-month-old brother.
The Birth of Moses. Yours for a gift of only $25.
What will you do the next time the soldiers come? I do not know, but I trust God has a plan for all of us.
Superbook Club members, free streaming for seasons 1, 2, and 3 is now available.
Get the top political news and analysis from Washington on Faith Nation, tonight at 6 Eastern, only on the CBN News Channel.
Welcome back. Israel is wrapping up its celebration today of the Feast of Sukkot, otherwise known as the Feast of Tabernacles. Thousands of Christians from around the world traveled to Jerusalem to see prophecy fulfilled and attend the celebration of this biblical feast. CBN Middle East correspondent Julie Stahl brings us that story from Jerusalem.
It's a gala event with deep spiritual significance.
We have to come. Gentile Christians should come to Jerusalem at the Feast of Sukkot.
This is the 40th Feast of Tabernacles celebration of the International Christian Embassy, Jerusalem. Some 5,000 Christians from 100 nations have come up to Jerusalem this year to stand with Israel and celebrate the biblical feast.
A lot of people from all these little Pacific islands, the Cook Islands and Samoa and Fiji and all, large groups that are flying for like 18 hours to get here. We had a special delegation this year from Egypt at the Feast of Tabernacles in Jerusalem.
ICEJ spokesman David Parsons said the work of the ICEJ goes beyond the feast.
From the founding of the Christian Embassy 40 years ago, we became involved in Aliyah work, helping gather the Jewish people back here to the land of Israel. And as of now, as of today, we have helped 150,000 Jews to make Aliyah, to help them make the journey home to the land of Israel.
This young doctor and his family from the Ukraine are the 150,000th new immigrant helped by the ICEJ.
And I'm really thankful so much for everyone who helped for us.
So why do the Christians come to the feast?
Because I love God and because I love Israel. And the Feast of Tabernacles has a meaning not only about Israel but also about the nations.
I'm so blessed to step on the soil. I've been praying for Israel.
As part of the feast, the pilgrims join a festive parade in the streets of Jerusalem.
The Bible says that we should love Israel because this is where salvation comes from.
Our heart is for you because our heart is for God, and we want to see Israel, all of Israel, blessed.
The Bible says, comfort my people, comfort my people. It's why I'm here, comfort my people.
And we believe that more and more Christians are going to come to understand that they need to support Israel and not believe the lies. And so it says, you bless Israel, you'll be blessed. We believe our land, Ireland, is being blessed today because we're blessing Israel.
One Israeli said the Christian support is like a big hug.
Every year we come with our kids and we stand here for hours seeing everyone parade down. It's beautiful, it's colorful, it's happy. Everyone are singing Israeli songs about Jerusalem.
I think it's very exciting to know that there are so many people that love us and are excited to be here in Israel, just as I'm excited to be here. And this is a fantastic way to show the partnership between us and the rest of the world.
Julie Stahl, CBN News, Jerusalem.
Wonderful to see. That's awesome. Well, that's it for this edition of CBN News Watch. Remember, you can find more of our news programs on the CBN News Channel anytime or online with cbnnews.com. Also, tell us what you think about the stories you've seen by emailing newswatch@cbn.com or talk to us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Hope you'll join us next time. Have a great day.